In this video, I want to share with you how you can accelerate your property investing success. So my name's Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network, which is the largest network of investors throughout the UK. And I've been investing in property for 25 years. Now, I know exactly what you need to do to accelerate your property investing success because I've been teaching other people like you since 2003. And I actually have a 90-minute training all about this. But what I've decided to do, rather than share 90 minutes on YouTube, I'm going to condense this down to maybe just 10 minutes to give you the 5 core steps, the things you need to do to accelerate your success. And that's what this video is all about. So first of all, step number 1 is you need to gain specialist knowledge. No one ever teaches us how to invest in property. You know, we don't learn at school, we don't learn from our family. You might know someone who invests, but no one really teaches you how to do it. Now, there's lots of free information you can learn from. I have a whole load of videos on this YouTube channel. I've got a podcast called the Property Magic Podcast. You might want to go and check it out. It's completely free with hours and hours of content that will help you become a more successful investor. Now, the reason you want to learn how to do this, you need to learn how to do the strategies. When I started investing in 1995, there was no such help. YouTube wasn't around, there weren't podcasts, and I had to learn the hard way through trial and terror, making mistakes. Now, I kind of did okay. I was able to leave my full-time job after 5.5 years in 2001, and by 2003, I'd completely replaced my income. So it took me 8 years to completely replace my former salary at Cadbury's. However, some of my students, including people I know from Cadbury's, have done it in as little as 8 months because they've been following a step-by-step process. Rather than trying to work it out themselves, they found someone like me who knows what to do, who's done what they want to achieve, and I've shown them exactly how to do it. So whilst it's great learning for free, and I really encourage you to look at all the videos on this YouTube channel, the challenge is there's so much information out there, sometimes people get overwhelmed. So the reason people invest in themselves to come on training courses is to get the information they need pulled together, organized in a way so it's very straightforward to follow step by step to learn exactly what they need to do. So that's where people invest in themselves, and I do believe investing in yourself is one of the very best investments you can make, followed very closely by obviously investing in property. The other thing happens when you invest in yourself, you kind of get a psychological upgrade. What I mean is you're backing yourself, you're believing in yourself. And if you want to get other people to fund your property deals, because even if you have money right now, at some point everybody runs out of their own money. If you've invested in yourself, you become more investable. However, if you're not prepared to invest in yourself and get the specialist knowledge you need, well, why would someone else invest in you if you hadn't invested in yourself? So getting the right specialist knowledge is really important. You can learn a lot for free online. Once you know what you want to do, find someone who can teach you what you need to know. Make sure they taught lots of people and become good at conveying what might be a difficult concept into an easier concept. And you find out by making sure they've got lots of successful students. And also find someone who's still actually investing in themselves, not only in property, but also in their own education. So, first of all, get that specialist knowledge. The next thing is set yourself up for success. If you're going out finding property deals, you need to make sure you can fund those deals. So one of the first things you want to do is make sure you get your funding sorted out. You might have equity in your own home, or maybe other investment properties, or maybe you've inherited property. Well, you could, if you wanted, refinance those to take the money out so you're ready to move when you find good deals. When you find a good deal, you need to move quickly. You need to be decisive. Otherwise, other people are going to beat you to it. And that's partly what comes from education, gives you that knowledge and confidence, so when you find a good deal, you move forward quickly. So get your funding in place. Also, set up a business. Now, I can't give you financial advice, but moving forward, most people investing in property generally are doing it in a company structure. It always used to be the way that we'd buy property in our own name, And then Section 24 came in, which was a change introduced in April 2017 that means if you own property in your own name and you're a higher rate taxpayer with mortgages, you're going to pay a lot more tax. So generally people are doing it in a company structure. Once you've got your company set up, you can then get your certificate of incorporation and you can go and get a business bank account. So get that set up. Then you want to recognize that actually you don't need to do everything on your own. You don't need to be answering all the calls. You can get a call answering service set up very cost effectively to be far more professional and make sure you don't ever miss a call from a motivated seller. So there are systems and processes you can put in place that are going to make you more effective, make you more professional, and also make sure that you are focusing on the things that you need to focus on. That leads me very nicely to the third step you need. You need to focus. It's really important to get a good understanding of all the strategies out there so you can identify what strategy you want to use. One of my favorite sayings is you don't know what you don't know. So that's why that initial education and training is really important. But once you know what's going to work for you based on your circumstances and your resources of time and money, you can pick the right strategy for you. So once you know what the strategy is, I suggest you focus. A great abbreviation for that is follow one course until successful. Now, that means that work out what you want to do and spend most of your time focused on that. However, just be careful not to become too tunnel visioned. Because say you're out there looking for deals. Let's say you're looking for rent-to-rent deals. Rent-to-rent's a great strategy. We've got some videos about that on this YouTube channel. You find a landlord who's got a property. They're struggling to rent it out. They don't want to hassle. You rent it from them, and with their full knowledge and permission, you rent it out at a higher rate. And you get paid the difference between what you pay the landlord and what you can rent the property out for. Usually you pay for bills as well. Great to use with serviced accommodation or with HMOs. So let's say you're doing rent to rent and you're contacting landlords. And if you sent them a letter saying, hey, I'm interested in renting your property, well, the landlords who want to sell their property wouldn't bother contacting you because they think you just want to rent. So keep an open mind to other strategies. In a landlord letter, for example, I'd say, hey, I'm interested in either renting or buying your property. Now you might think, no, but Simon, I don't want to buy, I want to do rent to rent. Look, if they want to sell and they're happy to do rent to rent as well, you could do something like a purchase lease option, which is better than rent to rent. Or indeed, you could actually buy the property if buying it is the best solution. And you might think, well, I don't have the money. But I believe if you learn how to find really good deals, and they must be good deals, there are people around who don't know how to find deals, don't have the time to find deals, and they would happily work with you, either on a joint venture basis where you go into business together and you share the risk, share the reward, or even just on a private loan basis. How do you meet these people? You go networking. You go to property events where people are learning how to invest. There are people there who, once they've learned, they think, hey, it's too much work, and they don't want to do the work. So even if you don't have money, if you're finding great deals, you can absolutely move forward. But have that focus, but just make sure you're aware of other strategies around you. And when you find a deal that doesn't suit your strategy, maybe you could pass it on to someone else, get paid a fee for that, kind of a deal sourcing arrangement, and obviously that gives you more money for the deals that you're doing. But if you're just focused on your strategy, you'll miss out loads of deals that are out there and available. The next thing is, don't do this on your own. Don't do this on your own. It's really lonely investing. And once you start to get some success, the more properties you get, the more experience you get, the less people around you from your normal environment can you talk to, because they won't understand what you're trying to do. Back in 2003, when I'd left my full-time job, I'd been doing property for a couple of years. I was going to breakfast network meetings where I met a great solicitor, mortgage broker, accountant, all the people I needed for my property business. That was great for my networking. The only problem was none of them really understood property. They had their own homes, but they didn't have investment properties. They didn't know what I was trying to achieve. None of my friends understood because they were all still working. None of my family had ever invested apart from their own homes. And so I needed to get a group of like-minded people around me. And I went online, there was nothing at the time. So that's why, back in 2003, I set up the Property Investors Network. Because I wanted people around me who I could ask questions, who had more experience than me, who I could sense check my deals with. And that's why I created PIN. So you need to do that as well. Get other like-minded people around you who can support you and encourage you. If you said to one of your work colleagues, hey, I want to get enough property to replace my income in the next 12 to 24 months, they'd think you're crazy. If you get the right people around you, they'll say, that's fantastic. How are you going to do it? How can we help you? So you've got to get the right environment around you. You've got to build your team. You need your power team. You need your mortgage broker. You need a great solicitor, those people who can help you get those deals done. And also, there's a lot to do in property investing, so you don't have to do it all on your own. You could get someone part-time, like a virtual assistant, to do some of the legwork for you so you can focus on the most value-added tasks and make sure you get those things done. The fifth thing you need to do is constantly work on your mindset. In property, things go wrong. You will have rejections, you will have challenges. And if you take that on, it might be very easy to quit and give up. And once you know what to do, once you've had the right training, the only reason that you will not be successful is because you stop trying. Whereas if you keep going, and you're sense checking what you're doing with other people in your community, then you've got a much better chance of getting the results you want. So you've got to keep on working on that resilience and that mindset. For me, I break mindset into the A, B, C of mindset. A is for attitude, having the can-do positive attitude. B is for belief, believing what's possible and believing you can do it. And C is for courage. If you want to experience change in your life, you need to change your life. You need to be the catalyst for change. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So you need to do things differently. And that can be scary. You've got to have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and do things you wouldn't normally do. To speak to people about potentially using their money to invest, to call agents, to speak to landlords. These are the things you need to learn how to do and just go and do them. What's the worst that can happen? Well, nothing really. What's the best that can happen? You buy enough property to replace your income to start living the life you want to live. So these 5 steps to achieving more and accelerating your property investing success. First of all, make sure you get the right specialist education. Secondly, get set up for success. Get all your systems in place. Thirdly, make sure you focus. Once you know which strategy is right for you, focus in on that and follow one course until successful. Next, don't do it on your own. Get people around you who can help you, get a virtual assistant, whatever, to make sure you're doing the value-added tasks. And finally, number 5, keep working on your mindset, the ABC of mindset, because I believe mindset is 80% of your success. I see people who kind of know what to do, but because they don't have the belief or they have fear holding them back, they don't take the necessary action, and thus they don't get results. Property investing can be incredibly powerful for you, and I do hope these 5 steps have been useful. Now, I do have an in-depth 90-minute training all on this, completely free of charge. I've got more time to go into more detail. If you'd like to come and join me on that training, click on the link below here, and you'll be able to come and join me and really learn about how you can accelerate your property investing. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please click the like button, leave a comment. Me and my team will come back and answer. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not subscribe to the channel to make sure every time something comes up, you'll get notified of it. So, as ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Do enjoy the videos, and I've lined another video up for you, so I hope you enjoyed that as well. I do hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I highly recommend some live online training that we're doing. All you have to do is click on the link below to get full details. And the great thing about live training is obviously we can interact, you can ask me questions, and we can answer them live in the moment. So come and click on that live online training. I look forward to you very soon. In the meantime, I've lined up another video I think you're going to find very useful. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill.